Welcome back to Scene. I'm your host, Diona Richards, and joining me today is Desiree Vaughn. Desiree, great to see you.
Good to see you too, Deanna. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So, Desiree is the founder and CEO of Dream Big Ultra LLC, a production company, I'm assuming, or a
Dream
gaming
Ultra
company.
Big, Dream
Dream,
Ultra Big
Dream
LLC.
Ultra Big LLC. I'm sorry,
Yes,
what did I say?
that's all right. Dream Big Ultra.
Dream Big Ultra, Dream Ultra Big. Okay, sorry.
All right, that's okay. And right now, it is a company that I love to say Dream Ultra Big is the company that does all the things that I love and are a part of me.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of gaming, it's a little bit of education. It's a mix of all the things that I love to do. So this just happens to be the first product of the company.
Okay, great. Yeah, so Dub This is a card game, right?
Yes,
Um, and you launched Dub This through a Kickstarter campaign.
yes.
So it's not often that we get to have these type of conversations where we talk to someone who's had a successful crowdfunding campaign that's allowed them to launch their business. So tell me, how did you get started? Why card game? I want to hear about it.
Yes. So I always have to start and say I never intended to do this at all. I started in education by training and going to school. I went to school to become a teacher, to become an educator, and um, I taught for 6 years. I taught second grade and fourth grade, and I loved every minute of it. I
Mhm.
love the kids. I love the joy of being able to teach someone who thinks that they can't quite do something. They know they have some skills, but they're also like, oh no, no. And
Yeah.
then by the end, as you keep working and working and working, by the end, they are successful in so many things that they didn't think they could do. And so I love that part about it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there were just some things that I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to try something new, and I want to bet on myself, and I want to see what else am I good at. That was my overall like, okay, what else am I good at? What else can
Mhm.
I achieve in this life? And so I noticed I've always loved music. Like that's always been with me. I love to sing. I've played instruments. Um, and even in my classroom, music was definitely embedded in everything that we do because that makes things more fun, especially for me. So when it came time, like I had this idea in 2017, and I was still kind of new in teaching, but it also was just like I don't know where to go. It's a cool
Yeah.
idea,
Mhm.
sounds nice. I didn't know where to start, but I did see an article in Essence magazine about another black woman who started a card game. And I always got to give her credit because she really inspired me way back then. And it took me, 4 years after to finally do it, but it was just I knew that was the way to go. So
Good.
this woman, Kenyatta Ford, she's actually from Chicago,
Yeah.
and created a
Shut
card
down.
game called Trading Races. And so when I saw her article, and she just talked about how she did a Kickstarter campaign. I was like, okay, so if I ever do that, that'll be the way I go. So fast forward to 2021, I was like, okay,
Mhm.
yeah. So, well, 2021, we were like a year into the pandemic, and I was like, all right, I really want to find something new. I
Mhm.
have to try it. Let's see where it goes. So I was like, all right, let me reach out to Kenyatta. I did not know her at all. I did not have an email. I Googled around for her email, actually got in touch with her, and she was like, yeah, I'll help you, whatever you need, what questions you have. So she pretty much was my mentor and Kickstarter, and
Good.
helped me just figure out how and the what, and just, yeah, how to be
Yeah.
successful at it. And so I took the time to literally go through all the steps, all the parts of the platform, from telling the story to what the money would go to. But it was a journey for me. I still wasn't very clear on how to make the Kickstarter be successful
Mhm.
when I was working through it. So, for example, when it comes to manufacturing, I had no clue about
Mhm.
manufacturing a card game, what that even meant, like
Right.
where to
Right.
go, what to do. It just was new, very new for me. So, having to do that research and again, like asking, questions and getting the information I needed to be successful that was really my start. It was definitely some time where I had to plan and take time to research and ask questions. But I always say it was worth it because there's this card game that didn't
Yeah.
exist before. So
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
that's such an interesting story because you were a teacher. First of all, thank you for teaching our children.
Thank you.
Teachers are God's strongest soldiers. I have a 2-year-old and I just have the one. And every day I'm like, please. In second grade is such an interesting, like they're in that 7 to 8 age, right? And they like
Yeah.
know everything and they're very literal. So I just have one. I can only imagine having a classroom full. So thank
Oh,
you and kudos to you.
thank you.
Um, but I appreciate how you talked about you pivoted, from that being in that space to understanding that, okay, there's something deeper here. I want to branch out. I want to go on this entrepreneurial journey. And you started doing your research. And I love that you just reached out to the founder of the card game that you saw in the article, because that's how you and I connected. I saw you had a successful campaign on Hello Alice. Thank you for reminding me of that. And I just
Yeah.
hopped in your DMs like, "Hey, can I talk to you? I know you don't know me. You've never seen me before." And you were very receptive. So thank you for, paying it forward with that, willing to
Thank
share
you.
your information. And so when you decided to use crowdfunding as a way to launch your business, talk to me a little bit about the different types of platforms you research, why specifically Kickstarter, and how did you get into that journey?
Yeah. I didn't necessarily research any other platforms that I can think of. There was another one. I can't remember their name right now, but I know it was also like for creative projects. But
Hmm.
Kickstarter stuck out to me because he got his experience from it. Also, once I got to the website, it seemed pretty easy to navigate, pretty user friendly, and I guess it kind of pulled me in a little bit. The actress Corinne Parsons, I think it's her actual
Okay.
name, but she plays Hillary from
Right.
the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the original. Um, he was in one of the like videos, I think, of like how creatives can use this platform to put their projects out there. So
That's
that
cool.
kind of inspired me too. I'm like, okay, there's a
That's
face
nice.
I know. She's a black
Hmm.
woman. Like, this is cool. So once I felt like the vibe was there, it was like, okay, I think this is what I'm going to go for. And so, yeah.
Good, good. So, what year, what month did you launch the campaign? And then how long did it take you to get to a point where you had started raising enough funds to do the manufacturing and all of that?
Yeah, so I launched it in July 2021, and Kickstarter has, I think there are different ranges if I'm not mistaken, but I knew I was going to do the earliest range and do
Mhm.
just 1 month. So it was like 30 days to fund it, and I was like, oh, this needs to work. It just has
Mhm.
to. Family, friends, and even people I didn't know, which was like the most exciting part. Like, oh man, I don't even know you, but you love this, and that's
Right.
awesome. Thank you. So 30 days. So once we got in, I think a week before that, we reached the funding goal. So we actually surpassed the funding goal. So that was nice to even see,
Good.
like, oh man, we made a little more, well,
Mhm.
more than I even expected. So once I had those funds, I could move forward and do the first print run of the game and, start shipping things out.
Okay, that's great. So yesterday I talked to someone on a podcast and we talked about crowdfunding and we talked about the different tiers of crowdfunding. But the one thing that stuck out the most to me, which you hear in all funding aspects, is selling your story, right? Telling your story about the brand, about the business, about you as a founder. What did your story sound like when you were doing your campaign? What sold people to say, hey, I want to fund this opportunity?
Oh, that's a big question. I think the first part of it is people seeing something in you that they see in
Mhm.
themselves, or just something that makes them say, "Oh, wow, I'm similar to that person. I can connect in
Right.
that way." And I think that partly was it. Maybe they were music lovers and wanted to support, or maybe they, love games and they wanted to support, or they were like, "Oh, that's a really creative idea," maybe I one day want to put my own creative idea out there, which made them want to support. So I think it's more about connection and seeing themselves in another person, and feeling like it's authentic and genuine, where they're like, yeah, that's something I can get behind.
Right. Yeah, because that connection piece is really important, right? People want to know that the person that they're pushing and they're giving their money to, like you said, they have that connection, they're authentic, and their story aligns with theirs. Whether it's I see what this person is doing and I aspire, or I see what this person is doing and I'm proud that they're putting themselves out there and they're launching this. So I think that that's great. And I think it's wonderful that you had the courage to put yourself out there and decide to pursue this love that you have for music and this, newfound love that you have for entrepreneurship. And so, when you were raising, what was your initial goal, and what did you end up, how did you get over it?
I would have to look that up.
Sorry, I should have told you to bring your
Right.
spreadsheets.
I mean, I want to add that real quick. I think I have it pretty close enough. The goal was, I believe, like 5,100,
Okay.
maybe 52. I think we ended up raising like 6,200, so like either 62 or 64. So yeah, it was nice to see that increase.
That's good.
Because I was like, okay, now I can do a little more.
Right.
Now I can account for the cost of the fees that Kickstarter also takes off the top. So yeah, that was really helpful. You had a second part to your question.
No. I just wanted to know what was the initial goal that you set, and then how much had you surpassed that. So that's great to know. And so, was Kickstarter your only funding source, or is Kickstarter the only type of funding that you've ever received? Have you ever received any type of grants or loans, things like that?
So Kickstarter was my only like crowdfunding platform, but I did also get a grant from this fellowship that I was a part of. Good. So when I initially started this whole journey that I never expected to do, as I say, it was important to me to find mentors. I think when you're learning anything, you're trying anything, you need people who have done it before or can guide you. So that was the first thing that I did, and I found the Game Manufacturer Association. They had an inaugural fellowship called the Horizons Fellowship, and so I was blessed enough to be selected to be a part of that. I'm like, oh man, like I'm used to this, and y'all want me in there. Great. So we got some mentoring through that program. We got to attend the Gamma Expo. It was like a large exhibit convention in March of 2022 is when I went, and just being able to showcase my game and present it to different retailers and like small, friendly local game stores across the U.S. And so from that, I was able to get this into, I think it was 10 stores now, and now we're up to like 13 plus stores. And these are friendly local game stores. They're not your big box retail, but that was like important to me. That was big to me, that somebody who didn't anticipate going into this field or taking on something like this could sell and pitch my product for people to say, yeah, I need that on my stores, and I want people to buy that. So that fellowship really provided some great opportunities for me in just learning the game industry and just different routes of how to continue to grow. And so they also provided some grant money through that. A $5,000 grant, which I used for rebuilding my website. The website that's up there now is not the original website. So it's made some progress between that and also just wanting to be secure in my finances. Again, didn't set out to do any of this.
Right,
so I had to learn, a bookkeeper, an accountant, and had to use some of the funds to have somebody else work through that. And so I could fully start to understand what it means to have these particular financial reports and be able to understand what they mean. So that grant money was really helpful to start that process for me financially. But I'm definitely always open to new grants. So
Good. And I think that that's great that you were able to that you found a fellowship because I think that that is an excellent way to become successful in
Yeah.
your when you're building out your company, and it's wonderful that you were allowed yourself to be coachable enough to learn and understand in an industry where you had no expertise, where you really had no knowledge. And so and then the funding piece at the end was kind of like that added bonus, right?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you talk about having to use a portion of those funds to go towards bookkeeping, accounting, and growing your website, because I don't think oftentimes people realize when you're getting this access to capital and these type of funding, yes, you can use it to purchase inventory and supplies, but there is an operational piece that goes into it.
Hmm.
So when you were learning about the operational piece, did you find that that was like a learning curve for you, in addition to building out your physical company?
Yeah, a big learning curve. I always joke with people, and I mean, especially like teachers, because they get this one part of it where I'm like, for my whole career, I was working on Common Core state standards. I could tell you what they needed to learn by the end of fourth grade for reading. Yeah, big learning curve when it came to learning how to run a business and what
Yeah.
operational costs meant. The best part I could say that I appreciated from just who I am, like my education training is like I'm a very detail oriented person, so I was
Hmm.
able to sit down and read what I needed to read and take the notes. That's
Good.
what helped me on the learning curve was really doing the research, digging in, taking the notes I needed to take. I sometimes look at like the very beginning and the notes that I took in the beginning. I'm like, who wrote this? This is so much. And it helped me process it. It helped me get to where I am today and just forever being a learner. Like I'm a
Yeah.
teacher, but I'm also a learner, and I can't stop learning because otherwise I won't get to where I want to be. So
Right. Right.
it was a learning curve, but I do think I had some significant transferable skills that helped me continue to be successful. So,
Good,
yeah.
good. That's great. And transferable skills, that is key, right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what you do for a living. There's always some type of skill set that you're working in that can transfer to someone to something else. And so that's actually a really, really great point to think about how teaching can help you learn about the operations and building a company and building a business. So let's say if I am new to entrepreneurship and I want to look into crowdfunding, specifically Kickstarter, what advice would you give me as a newbie?
Yeah. First thing I would say is find someone who's done it before. Don't be afraid to reach out to them and say,
Right.
hey, do you have a template? Do you have a this or that, that could support me or walk me through
Mhm.
how to do it? Because you have it fairly laid out on the website, but it's nothing like being able to talk to somebody who's actually done it. I would say reach out to someone who's done it. The second part is like also tell your story, like be
Right.
you, because that's what people are funding. They look at the product, they're like, oh, that's cool, but they really want to see like who you are through the
Right.
video and be able to connect in some way. What else? Oh, this is a big lesson I learned, and to this day, I'm like, wow, I must have just been excited, I guess. No, definitely was excited, but also just didn't know. So when it comes to the post office, depending on what you're sending, if you're sending something small that can fit, I forget what's the word? I forget like the actual threshold, but
Mhm.
if it's under a certain weight, that you can send it uh, first class mail. You don't have to send it priority mail. I didn't know that. So I spent a good amount on shipping because a part of me was like, okay, the post office provides all these boxes
Mhm.
and sizes and materials for free, but you have to send it on their rate, which is way more expensive than I needed to spend for my one game deck that I was sending that could have been sent first. Yes, one of the biggest lessons I learned.
Mhm.
I can laugh about it because I'm just like, that's a lesson learned, but it
Yeah.
definitely was like something that could have been saved.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a really good point, is researching costs and ways to save, because when you're an entrepreneur, every single penny counts.
Yes,
There is a difference in priority and
yes,
overnight. Yeah, you're
yes.
right. That's a good
Yeah.
lesson. Well, at least you learned it early, right? That's a
Oh
good
yeah.
lesson to learn
Early
early on.
enough. Early enough. Right now, everybody I encounter since then, I've told them, hey, send me some. It'll be there. You're not Amazon. You don't have to send
Right,
it.
right.
Amazon Prime. You don't have to send it in 2 days. So definitely a lesson learned, and now I know.
Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn quickly. So Dub This is a card game.
It
And so
is.
how do you play? What does it
Yes.
look like? Okay. Oh,
So
I like
this
the
is the
packaging. It's
new
cute.
and improved. Thank you. This is the new and improved version. And so it's the front of it, and the back gives you your quick how to play. So you want to play, Deanna? You want to just give
Okay,
it a
yeah,
quick?
let's play.
Perfect. I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. All right. So I'm giving you a pretty easy one, right?
Okay.
So on these cards are words and phrases. And
Okay.
it's your job to start singing a song. Any song, go. So it could be a nursery rhyme, a commercial jingle, a Broadway
Oh
musical,
my God.
I don't know, like if you are just like a person who loves country music, then you can use that genre.
Okay.
Any genre goes, anything goes. Okay, so the word,
Wait. So does this have to be a song that I make up, or does it have to be a song, like an existing song that I have to think of the words off the top of my head?
well, that's a great question too. So it can be both, right?
Okay.
So mostly I tell people make it an actual song because it's just more fun that way. People start vibing off of each other based on the song
Okay.
that comes up. But you can freestyle it. If you freestyle it successfully, and I'm just like, oh, I had no clue you made that, you can double your current point. Each
Okay.
card is worth 2 points. So now that you know that, if you do choose to freestyle it, just be confident so that
Okay.
I'm not challenging you to say, hey, I don't know if that's real. All right. So I'll tell you what to do next after you sing your song. So you'll see a
Okay.
word or a phrase, start singing any song, starting with that word.
Okay.
What do you got?
What does that say?
Mm-hmm.
I love the Lord. He heard my cry and pitied every sorrow. Do I have to keep
Wow.
singing?
No, this is great. So let me tell you that was a perfect choice
Oh God,
because
that's so funny.
the twist with Dub This is you can sing that whole song if you wanted to. The twist with this game is you actually want to stop on a word you think will be hard for me to sing a
Okay.
completely different song. So go ahead and sing
Okay.
exactly what you sang before, but stop on any of those words you think is hard for me to start a completely different song.
Okay. Let's start over. All right.
So your word,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Okay. I love the Lord. He heard my cry. And I don't know. I think the next word is pity. Is it? I don't know.
You,
Okay.
you
And pity.
right. I wanted you to challenge me. I'm thinking, I'm like, wait,
You
I
know what it
got
is?
one
I
to
am
it.
terrible with song lyrics. I'm of all the things, song lyrics and naming like artists, I'm terrible. Terrible.
But that's what I tell people when they're playing dub. This is
Oh,
you
that's
don't
funny.
have to necessarily know it. You just have to present it confidently. Because if I don't know the song that you just sang,
Uh-huh.
which I vaguely know it, but if I didn't know it at all, I would be careful to challenge you, right?
Okay.
Because let's say I challenge you and I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, you're like, well, you had the audacity to challenge me. I'm choosing to double the points of the card to end 4 points or take all of my points, depending
Okay.
on where we are in the game, right? So I think this is more about confidence and
This is
strategy
fun.
than it is, thank you,
Yes.
than it is like, I don't know the lyrics or I don't know the artist. Like you have to present it
Let
confidently.
me
That's
say,
all we're
I
doing.
did not know. We're posting this, right? I did not know that you were gonna have me on here singing. Oh,
That's
that is
all it can
so
do.
funny.
You don't need the vocals. You don't need them at all. Some people just speak it and try to
That's
stump
funny.
people.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's the idea of it. You want to try to stump the next player or team. You
Okay.
stopped on pity. It's not. I know there's a song out there, but right now it's not coming to me. So right now you just earned 2 points, and then I would take the next card. So let's try
Okay.
another one. So I'll do maybe.
This is a good game. I like
Thank
this.
you. Thank you. So I'll do, I'll make love to you when you want me to, and I'll hold you tight. I'm giving you tight.
Tight. Okay. Um. Tight. Sleep tight. Dream right. Sleep tight. Dream right. I'll see you in the morning tomorrow.
Wow. So it's like, you know, but you with it, like you got a little, oh, should I choose you?
Oh man,
Sleep
this is
tight,
great.
sleep tight, dream right tomorrow. Man, you really got me because I'm like, the way you position it is like, what is it? So let's just say you made it up. I'm going to challenge
I
you. Did
made
you
that
make it
up.
up?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. Yes, 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 I did. Yes, I made
So
that
because
up.
I challenged you and I got that right, I earned those 2 points.
Okay.
So
Okay, this is
that's
I like
how it
this. That
works.
makes sense. Yes, that's
Thank
good.
you.
Now, how did
Thank
you
you
come
so
up with
much.
this concept?
Yeah. So I always get that question, and I tell people the same answer. Like this is literally how my brain works. Like I'm always just singing from genre to genre, like different lyrics. And I try to myself try to stop on a hard word and be like, all right, can I find another song with
Yeah,
that same word, either starting on that word or maybe lead into it like 2 words before. But that's really it. It's literally how I try to challenge my brain.
that's
And I just love
good.
to listen to different types of music. It just makes me feel good. It just makes me feel, I don't know, it's a
Yeah.
special feeling.
I
So,
like
yeah.
that. That was really fun. So I come from a really
Thank
large
you.
family. I have 5 younger sisters and brothers, and we
Wow.
all anytime we get together, we just play the most outrageous games. So this would be so fun to play. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
You
That's
can
I
play
like
in
that.
teams. I find that when people play in teams, it ups the ante because you can have certain people just. I always tell people, you use the music you know and love. Like if you are a
Mhm.
Beyonce fan and that's the music you listen to all the time, I'm expecting nothing but Beyonce.
Right, right.
Like just to tune in and tap into what you know and love. Because if you are playing on the team, you can be like, all right, I got y'all on every single whatever. If I could tap into Beyonce or like it's just something about being able to bounce ideas off of
Yeah.
other people when you're playing in teams, and it just makes it that much more exciting because people just get more competitive. So it can be individual, like we did, or it can be in teams.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a
Thank
lot. So where can
you.
people find the game? How can we get
Yes,
this?
yes. You can find Dub This on my website at dubthisgame.com. You can enter the www.dubthisgame.com. If you go on Instagram, that is our main social platform. So at dubthisgame, and it also has the link within the bio. So
That's
yeah,
cool. That is great. I like that. I like that a lot.
yeah,
So what's next for Dream Ultra Big? What's
yeah.
in the works?
What is next for Dream Ultra Big? Huh? We're still dreaming Ultra Big. Let's continue. What the journey is and the plan is to eventually make a extension test of Debs. Um, I always get that question too, like is it in Haitian Creole? Is it in
Mm,
Spanish? I'm like,
that's nice.
but
Almost.
I'm working on it. I'm continuing to build the awareness around the game, so when people see it, they're like, oh, I know that game, I played that game, I
Hmm.
love that game. The full experience of what is inside this box comes to mind for them. So that's really also my biggest work is to continue to network with people and get the game out there and the experience of the game. Like I said, I want the logo to just be recognizable and people get a sense of like joy and a full experience when they
Hmm.
see that logo. So that's like the big thing. And then my big dream, which I always say because when it comes to, I'm like, yes, my big dream is for Dub This to be a live primetime TV show. Dub This
Oh, that would be
live. You turn on
fun.
your ABC, your Fox, And there we are playing this live.
Yeah.
So God willing, that is something that comes to fruition. And yeah, that's the dream, ultra big dream.
That would be so much fun. I like that.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
I hope that for you. I
Thank
do. I
you.
am going to stand in agreement with you. That would
Thank
be
you.
awesome. And so I'm gonna have my family. We're gonna come and be guests on your show and make a fool out of
Oh,
ourselves.
I want to surprise yourself.
Yes. Oh, that would be so good. I like that. I like
Thank
that.
you. Thank you
Well,
so much.
Desiree, it was great talking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us. And I loved hearing all about your Kickstarter campaign success, your fellowship. The game is so much fun. I did not expect to start singing on here, but this was fun. I really, really like it.
Thank you, Diona.
And yeah, so follow her on Instagram. Go online and purchase the game. Again, I'm Diona Richards. I can be reached across all platforms as Diona Richards, and follow us on Instagram at Sing with DR. It was good seeing you, Desiree. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining us.
you so much. I appreciate your time, and thank you all again for supporting Deb. And keep dreaming ultra big.
Absolutely. Thank you.